Okay, Phil, let's look at your swim video. Here we go. I'm going to keep things kind of in half speed and stop and do a lot of frame by frame stuff as we go along. Okay, first of all, what I want you to see with this line is that with this right hand, you are crossing the center line, or you're really close to crossing the center line. I think a lot of the issues that we're going to be talking about today is the fact that you breathe only to your right. And that's going to get into a lot of the stroke imbalances that you have. Not that you have a lot of them. You're a very good swimmer. I think we're at a tweaking phase rather than a complete reinvention. But this is a good first place to start of moving that right hand a little bit farther out. Here's the next thing I want to show you is the angle of your arm is too acute on your right side. Ideally, what we would see is actually that this is going to be bent more like this. I'd love to see a little bit more of a bend, or a little less of a bend than you've got in there right now. The hand should still stay in line with the shoulder, but right now you're sacrificing some power because you're actually keeping your elbow too high to the surface of the water. So that is something to be aware about. On the contrary, on the other side, and here we go with that, you are a little too wide with your left hand. The left arm, I would love to see more like this, where again, that hand stays in line with the shoulder. This way, by going a little too wide, the way that you've got it right now, you're causing additional drag. So we want to move the right hand out, and we want to straighten the right arm a little bit, and we want to move the left hand in, and we want to bend the left arm a little bit more than you are at the moment. Got a little bit of that overglide, kind of tip the hand up in front, like you're pausing or showing the stop sign a little bit. You do a really good job, and we'll see this later from the side view, of you tipping your hand down, but you don't tip it down until right around there. So if you could start the hand tip the second your hand hits the water, rather than when it's about 2 feet below the surface of the water, that's all more time that you'll be able to catch the water. Okay, I'm going to speed up the frames here to real time because that's what I wanted you to see from the front. So in terms of swim types, and this is what we talked about at camp, you're very much a swinger style. You don't have a scissor kick, which is great. Your legs stay nice and compact behind you. You've got good rhythm. To me, you look tight in the shoulders. So one thing that maybe Gary can work on with you is some stretches to loosen those up. Okay, as we go to the side view, we're going to slow things down a little bit again and look at this view, which is really the view where we can tell the most. That line is angled, it looks like it's angled down a little bit, but I've got the camera tilted. I wanted to draw this line in here because I think that you actually have really good body position. One thing you might want to work on, and you can see it very, like just faintly here at the back, you could point your toes a little bit more or work on ankle flexibility. Because I think you're generating some drag by having that bend in the ankle back there. Men and runners and cyclists tend to have tight ankles, so don't fret. You're not in the minority. But other than that, pretty good body position here. You know, your butt is nice and up at the surface of the water. Your legs aren't sinking behind you. You know, there's a lot of good here. That's what I would expect a swinger style to have. Good body position. There goes Jason. I think that was Jason. And we're gonna wait for dawn to go by. Okay, here we go. So I talked about this a little bit from the front view. Your hand enters the water and you really let it drift down for a while. Right now you're really pressing water down, and you don't start pressing water back until right around there you can start to see your hand tip and grab the water. It would be awesome if maybe that catch and pull started happening, there. So you're catching water almost instantly after the arm goes into the water. So there you go. You've got nice straight arm, nice tipped hand. You're catching the water. Same thing, good straight arm, nice hand tip. You're really pushing a lot of water this direction, which is great. That's what we want. And then you break your elbow. And, maybe it just gets a little bit too much to hold or something like that. But now that you're leading the stroke with your elbow, you're losing all of that great water that you had caught in here. It's now, you're sort of giving up when you break the elbow. So that is something that we really want to get rid of. So definitely keeping that arm a little, keeping that, not leading with the elbow, keeping the elbow outside. And you do better with the left side, which I would guess because I think your left side is actually a little more powerful than your right. You don't really start leading with the elbow until you get back here, but you're still holding a ton of water in this area down here. This is all water that you are grabbing onto right in this area. So I think you're a little bit better on the left side than on the right. Could finish the stroke a little bit better. You sort of pull your hand out of the water here. You could really continue to press water this way in the final bit of your stroke on the left side. You might want to play around with head position. You look pretty far forward. You may want to play around with maybe looking a little bit more down and see if that just helps pop your hips a little bit closer to the surface of the water. Just an idea. Gary, might want to have him play around with head position. There's some good fault fixers on Swim Smooth about that. Yeah, you can really see right there that elbow break happen. But you're a powerful guy. You've got a good, strong swim stroke. I think there's a lot that we can do here. This last thing I just wanted to point out was you really, at this moment, you really are holding up the stop sign. You can really see that left hand is tipped up. And so you're going to have water coming into the hand, and you're just basically creating drag in that moment. So I really want you to focus on getting that hand tipped down rather than up when it hits the water. And that is it. So I hope that was helpful, and feel free to email me back with questions, and I'll also work with Gary to pick out some strokes and some drills that'll be good for you.